When the world feels unstable, the reflex is to look toward the structures we know. We check the headlines, we lean on political alliances, and we look for safety within the systems we built. The Israelites in Egypt were living through a massive population shift. They were multiplying exactly as God had promised their ancestors, growing into a significant nation while living on foreign soil. Their security depended largely on one man, Joseph. But the first chapter of Exodus records a shift. Joseph died. Any protection based on human favor is temporary. Leaders die and political tides turn, leaving those who rely on earthly connections vulnerable to whoever takes power next. A new king rose to power who had no memory of Joseph's service. He viewed the expanding Hebrew population as a direct threat to his national security. To maintain control, Pharaoh turned to systematic oppression. He forced the Israelites into hard labor, using them to build treasure cities in an attempt to wear down their spirits and stop their growth. When labor failed to reduce their numbers, the king escalated to a statewide decree. Every newborn Hebrew boy was to be cast into the river and killed. This plan was designed to eliminate the next generation of men. By targeting the male children, Pharaoh intended to assimilate the remaining Hebrew women into Egyptian households and erase their identity forever. When worldly power is challenged, its primary weapon is the destruction of hope and future generations. Rather than raising an army to counter this threat, God used two Hebrew midwives. Shiphrah and Puah received a direct order from Egypt's king: murder every newborn male infant. Verse 17 records their response. They feared God more than the king and refused, saving the children at the risk of their own lives. In the historical record of Exodus, the name of the great Pharaoh is omitted entirely, yet God ensures the names of these two ordinary midwives are preserved for thousands of years. Courage manifests when the fear of the Creator outweighs the fear of the state. Pharaoh intended for the Nile River to be a graveyard for the Hebrew people. God chose that exact location to begin their rescue. A Hebrew mother placed her son in a small basket among the reeds of that river. This child, Moses, was discovered and raised by Pharaoh's own daughter, right inside the palace of the man who ordered his death. This illustrates the central theme of Exodus. God is reclaiming what belongs to him. Pharaoh was trying to steal a nation that God had already claimed as his own. If God can turn an empire's weapon of death into a baby's nursery, he maintains control over every modern crisis we face today. This ancient struggle over ownership extends to our lives today. We are faced with the same choice. Do we belong to the systems of this world or to God? Since God has claimed us, the way we use our resources becomes a matter of integrity. When we withhold our time or our talents for the sake of our own comfort, we are effectively taking back what he has claimed for himself. Hoarding these gifts for personal convenience is a form of spiritual robbery. If God owns the person, he owns every minute and every dollar that person possesses. The Apostle Paul operated on the conviction that his life was not his own to preserve. He faced prison and the threat of execution without shrinking back from his work. True stewardship is recognizing that our safety is less important than our obedience to the one who redeemed us. When the expectations of the world collide with the commands of God, which one determines your next move? Human administrations and worldly kingdoms will constantly rise and fall. They are a fragile foundation for your life. You can choose the same quiet defiance seen in Shiphrah and Puah, recognizing your purpose in the middle of the chaos. Commit your time, your resources, and your fears to God. Trust that his sovereignty is the only security that lasts.